Hi guys. I thought I would just do a video for Joel and cryptocurrency education. Um, just a quick update really on the market and sort of a different perspective for all of you. I want you to have a look at BTC USD in terms of the monthly chart. So what I did was I used the Fibonacci tool by pulling at its lowest low at around 73 bucks, as we can see over here, all the way up to this candle wick at the top to stop just under the $20,000 mark. Generally, in such a strong uptrend, then we usually look for support zone at a maximum of around 78.6%. In this case over here, it's about $43,000. So if we had to pair that with the Elliott wave analysis, we could essentially then say that we were looking at this as wave one, and perhaps this is wave two. And the rule on wave one and wave two is that it needs to stay well above the start of wave one. So if wave one started up here, down here, then of course we would need to remain above this area over here. In my view personally, if we were to look at such a wave and we were in currently wave three, we would be looking at wave 1, 2, 3, wave 4. Wave 4 cannot come into wave 2. So wave 2 essentially ended up here, came down up here, but sort of stopped at the zone here before it came back down. So we would essentially look at $4,328 as the zone, or wave 2 rather. So with that being said, we would probably look at coming down to the $4,900 mark, which is still in play, should that be the case on Elliott wave. However, I'm not an Elliott wave trader, but with that being said, that would be sort of my outlook. Alternatively, we really just have two waves, the 1, the 2, and the next wave 3 on the bigger time frame. So if we move away now from the monthly, and let's just delete this background so we can get a better idea of where we are in the market and what's actually happened in the last few days. So let's move over to the daily. Let's pull this up over here. Right, so I'm sure we're all wondering what happened at this point over here. I'm trying to zoom in on that, on this candle wick over here. This was, in my personal opinion, 100% manipulation. I mean, we saw that there was, or we heard rather, that there was Tether being printed, millions of them, just a few days ago. There was the maintenance on BitMEX, which is obviously one of the biggest futures contracts trading platforms in the world. So anybody that had put in or placed their positions on BitMEX in terms of shorts got squeezed and absolutely wrecked. So if we now ask the question, where are we going to next? So currently let me just open this up a little bit. Let me pull this back a bit. There we go. Okay. So we can evidently see that we're still in a bear market. 100% we can see that. Okay. So that's the first thing in terms of the bigger time frame. Where we are right now in terms of this move over here, we are most certainly in a consolidation motion, and so a sideways trend. So the market can really go either way at this point. Bearing in mind that we are in a bear market, I'm very bearish. So my prediction would be a breakdown rather than a breakout, for the simple fact that we have not completed or bottomed out at the end of this bear market, bearing in mind that $4,900 is our psychological level that we need to get down to. So essentially, if we look at confluence zones on Fibonacci retracements, we could look at the following. So if we pulled this level to this level to find our bottom, we're looking at target zones of 5,700 and 4,900. Bang on with that Elliott wave theory. That's if my count is correct. Then we look at the second, let's take a look at the second one. Sorry, let's look at a confluence zone. So let's take this low over here to this high over here. And you can see that this 127 kind of sits in line with this 160, 180. So between 4.9 and 5.2. That's a very nice confluence zone. Worst case scenario, we're looking at about 4,000 to 4,200. If we had to move it away one more time and go even further back and pull it all the way up to here, we can see that we sit nicely in a confluence zone at the bottom here at $4,200 or $4,000 as sort of the final zone for support. I don't really see us going below that, but who knows? You know, as new data comes out, so the values will change. So that being said, I wouldn't be in the market at all at this point. I wouldn't have any positions or any orders. But I just want to also look at the opposing side in terms of the bull. So if we had to break out in this little zone here and find support at, let's say, the 5,800, or even bounce off this level where we are right now, for me, we're looking at a maximum of about $7,500. I don't see it being higher than that. So there it is right there. The 61.8 is around $7,487. So around the $75,000 mark. We can see very, very clearly that we were rejected by the 38.2 at this point over here. A few days ago, I even messaged Joel and I mentioned to him that if we were going to see some sort of bullish movement, it was going to be maximum between $6,900 and $7,200. Now, obviously, we touched that basically and just got retracted and bashed back down. Although I think that's a manipulative move, I'm actually going to try and void this completely and just kind of ignore it, if you will. I just don't see that as a natural move at all. And yeah, so that's pretty much my opinion. So the conclusion on BTC for me, should we break out, we will probably look at a 7,500 before coming back down. Otherwise, more than likely come down to about 5,800. Or what I would like to see is come down to 5,800 and ultimately 5.3 and lastly 4.9 before we take off again. If we look at the broader scope, we can see that there's been less confidence in the market just by looking at this chart. So at this top level here at the $20,000, it came down. We saw a nice climb all the way back in there. People were confident in the market that we were going to climb back up. Second time it happened over here, it was less of a high. Third time, less of a high. Fourth time, less of a high. So obviously now we're losing confidence in this market. The longer we consolidate and the longer we run sideways, the more chance of us actually climbing back out of this bear market that we're in. Otherwise, it's still very bearish to me. Right, then I want to just compare one other thing with regard to BTC before I do another coin. Let's have a look at let's look at the longs first. So let's go BTC longs. Right, so just so that you understand what this sort of means, really all that this is saying is that on Bitfinex specifically, there are currently 26,000 contracts or people, or contracts rather, let me not say people, there are 26,000 contracts of which people believe that the market is going to shoot upwards and kind of go long. Let's compare that to the shorts and what the sentiment is in terms of the futures. Have a look at that. Move that out of there. We're sitting at about 38,000. So that is just under our previous high of around 40,000 contracts, 40,800 contracts. Currently, we're sitting at about 38,600. So safe to say that there are a hell of a lot more shorts than there are longs on the Bitfinex platform specifically. And so that's just another confirmation or another tool rather that indicates that we are more than likely going to see a bearish movement than an outbreak. Have a look at the RSI as well. It's trading well above the 60 zone, and for me, again, just another tool that shows that we're supposed to be coming down. Now, let's move away from BTC and let's get back to some other coins. Let's have a look at NEO. Let's just have a look at NEO. Let's just pull one. What am I doing? No, sorry, USD. There we go. There we go. All right. So the same thing. Let's just have a look at our support zones, our support areas in terms of our fib. So if we go from our lowest low, let's use this point here. There's a reason why I'm doing that. Have a look there. Okay. Our lowest low was around $12.31, which we managed to stay just above. I'm going to leave this chart on just so we can compare what the current, the last consolidation move, so we can actually find a level of confluence. Have a look at that. Exactly $14.42, $12.31. Let's pull up another chart. Let's go a little further back. Let's look at the zone over here and pull that up. No, it's from the wrong place. Let's pull it from the wick. It's difficult to see with these numbers, but there we go. Okay. And again, it's 161.1350. Giving me more and more reason that NEO really has bottomed out, and we are just going to be running sideways between $12 and $14, $15, $16 until the market sort of calms down and Bitcoin decides to end its bear market. I just want to pull one more fib for you using this last move. So let's take this current move over here from there to there. And again, 161 is sitting at 1370. So there are a lot of confirmation showing that 1370 is the bottom for NEO. We can't use this one at the moment because we're still in play. But if we did, and we went from this low to this high, we still have a little bit of room to play. And those numbers are showing slightly different. So let's change that to the $13, $14 area. So on this last move from this point to this point, we can see that over here, we're just staying above the 78.6. On the previous run, we stayed above the 78.6. So for me, being held above this level shows a pretty good sign or pretty good support zone for NEO. So with that being said, in my opinion, I think NEO is a fantastic buy. $13, $14, $15, $16, fantastic time to get in. Bearing in mind, obviously, that $1 or $2 isn't going to make difference in the next 2 to 3 to 5 years. So that's what essentially we should be looking for. Let's have a look at TRX for those Tron supporters. So Tron USD. Right, okay. So, there we go. Okay, so let's take this low over here. We'll pull it up to this point here. We can see we've broken through the 161. We found some support at this zone here, but we broke through. My next target would have been the 261, which is around 1 cent, 1.3 cents, which we just managed to stay just above it. I'm going to leave that chart in there just to try and find some sort of confluence zones. So if you pull this from here to here, right? Okay, so that's not too far off. So we have this 261.8 putting in at 1.1 cent and 1.3 cents. If we take this last move as well, let's see what it sits at. So this 127, which is 1.3 cents, sits in line with this 261, which is 1.3 cents as well. So if we have to come down a little bit more, I see 1.3 cents as the low for TRX. I don't see it any more than that, to be quite honest. And obviously bearing in mind that BTC is the front runner. So if it does come down, we're probably going to see a little bit of damage or a bit more blood in the streets in terms of altcoins as well. So I just want to finish off by saying that I've also created a group called the Crypto Nomads, which Joel and I will be working with. Which Joel and I will be working together. And if there are any any coin pairings that you guys would like to see, any signals, that type of thing, have a chat with Joel out of courtesy before you chat to me. Joel obviously fantastic at the fundamentals, so I'll be covering the technical analysis part, and that's the end of it. So I hope you guys have some sort of insight as to what's happening in the market and and taken notes as to what your buy and sell prices should be. So we'll chat to you guys soon. Thanks. Ciao.